It is an absolute honor chatting to you, and I took a listen to the brand new live album, and congratulations, it is fantastic.
Nice. It was really fun. We were all over the U.S. with Frank on that farewell run, capturing audio, and like I said, putting check marks next to shows that we thought were good, and that one in Cambridge, Massachusetts, just had the magic, and nobody fucking diving off stage unhooking somebody's guitar. You know what I mean? So we like that, but it would be bad for a live recording. So yeah, that Cambridge just happened to be the one, and we recorded probably 20 something out of 30 shows trying to get the one, and that one just happened to be the one. It was sent out to Christian Donaldson of Cryptopsy, the guitarist of Cryptopsy, to mix and master. So we kept that in the family. That was really cool, and we're all stoked on it, man. We all love it. So I'm glad to hear you like it.
I was actually going to ask that. How do you know that you've played the perfect show that's perfect for a live album? Because I know a lot of bands and artists cheat these days, and they take a couple of tracks off one show and then another couple off another and mix it all together.
We were saying that the studio magic thing has two different ways to go. If something's fucked up, they have the capability of using their tools and fixing stuff. In the other end of it, when you got studio magic, that is, everything came out so good in the tracking process that the engineer gets to put his favorite spices on the dish, so to speak, put his favorite flavors into it. And, in our particular case, we caught a really good one. And like I said, I could come off the stage going, that's the one. And Terrence could be like, fuck you, that was horrible. So for all of us to look at each other and go, man, that was a good show. We all liked it. Nothing technically went wrong during the show. And then to send it out to an engineer that we know and love as a friend and that does good work, it was just a win-win-win all the way around. So we kind of just all felt that show. And it's funny because it was a toss-up between a few different ones. And when we were listening to them back after the fact, we were all kind of like, man, any of these could work, man. We really just had a good vibe on this run. If we choose Dallas, it's going to work. If we choose this, it's going to work. And something about the Cambridge show just worked out great. You know what I mean? So you just kind of know. And sometimes, you don't know, but somebody else tells you. And you're like, oh, shit, I guess, hey, if they're saying it, we should, somebody and trust that, like, hey, man, they say this is the one. Let's go for it, So live is weird. That last one we did in 2005 live in Quebec, we did it in a totally different way. We carried around a stereo recorder so we could just take a left and right feed off the board, and we kind of were married to whatever we took. Where this one, we got multi-track. So after the fact, we could go, turn the snare up, turn the guitar down, turn Frank up, and it was really cool to have the option to mix. And I think we went back and forth with Donaldson like 6 or 7 times. And the funniest thing was, it's pretty damn close to what he gave us on take one. He sent us mix one, and we're like, okay, but can we try this? And then like big full circle all the way, fucking 2 weeks later, we're like on the 7th mix or whatever. And he's like, yo, man, it sounds a lot like mix one. And we're like, okay, thanks for being so patient. That happens a lot, so, you kind of just want to hear a little extra, or you want to hear something different. And it turns out it was, the engineer probably got it right on the first try, Same thing with those different shows. We could have went with any of them probably, we were just doing well. So fun though.
How did you know that this was the right time to do another live album? And did Frank's retirement have a big factor in that as well?
Well, really funny. Nobody saw the pandemic coming. We were in Europe when it hit. We got, sent for a loop. I got stuck in Europe for a couple months. And it was like, wow, this is fucking bizarre, because we all just thought it was just going to blow over. And before the pandemic hit, we had recorded that. And we weren't in any real rush. We just knew it was Frank's going away thing. And so I said, hey, let's drag around. Or I think the engineer on that tour, this particular tour, had the recording capability. He's like, hey, you guys want me to record this? And we were like, fuck yeah. So we were kind of sitting on the footage, or the audio rather, no video. We were kind of sitting on these shows, and when the pandemic wasn't going away, I had, kind of said, fuck, man, maybe this would be a good thing to do. It would be a good sign-off for Frank to do it officially. I mean, if we never put this thing out, half of the world would think that Frank's still doing it, because Frank's been trying to bow out for like a good 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
And, so many places in the world probably don't know that, and so to do an official, in the liner notes, it says, Frank's farewell appearances in North America, and excuse me, sorry about that. It just kind of happened, you know what I mean? Like we had the tracks, we were thinking, let's drop this, but then when the pandemic hit, I think it kind of just happened. We're not one of those young bands that lives on fucking social media, and we're not one of those ones that, we're gonna be smart and utilize the time off from touring to do, web shit and interact with the fans. We're just such an old school band that, being that we weren't doing anything really productive. I mean, we wrote about half the new record, so we're working on a new record also. So I mean, it wasn't like we were just sitting around dead in the water, but
Yeah.
It wasn't as productive as some of these young kids. And we're a live band. We do 150, 200 shows in a year, and for 20 months or so to not be able to play a single show was insane. And we're just now in November starting to pick up and play shows. North America in November. We have a European festival in December, and then next year we're supposed to wrap up in February. We're supposed to go out and do the rest of that tour that we got interrupted from COVID, and then we'll be tracking the new record and looking to get the newest new one out. So I mean, everything's coming together, but this damn pandemic just fucked all kinds of stuff up for Suffocation.
As you mentioned, you guys do hundreds of shows every year. What was it like having that taken away from you because of the pandemic?
Horrible. Just rotten. Like, like I said, if we were a studio band or one of those, web-oriented bands, we would have used it, to our better advantage. When it hit, we all just, I don't know, man, depression. Like I said, we wrote and stuff like that, but, it was just fucked because we are a live band and we like to play. And maybe it did something good for us. Maybe it hit some subliminal reset button and, allowed something subliminal to change that is yet to be seen. But it was a nightmare. I mean, for me personally, it took away a lot of our, pride and motivation and drive and income, because this is what we do. This is what we do. And so all of a sudden, when we can't do what we do, it's like, what, am I supposed to go get a job at McDonald's? Like, what the fuck? I mean, not that we don't have backup plans per se. If you lose a hand or something, God forbid, you'd have to go to plan B. But none of us want to do that, so we're really holding on to plan A. And when something like this hits, you're just like, kill me, kill me. Not that, we ever would kill will on ourselves, but it was just really bizarre, man.
Yeah.
Super nightmare for us, basically.
Those first shows back, you guys must have felt like caged lions getting back out there into the wild again.
We haven't done them yet.
Okay.
They're coming up November 5th is Atlanta, Georgia, so we're starting down south, and then I think the following weekend is Long Island, New York, where the band's from, and then I think the weekend after that, so I think it's like 3 weekends back to back. Then we'll play down in Maryland, close by Washington, D.C., capital or whatever. And then December we'll do, and I feel like it's going to be ravenous. We're going to flip out. We're going to flip the fuck out. And I've heard the shows are all packed. Think about it. People haven't seen shows. And, Deicide and our boys, Internal Bleeding, just went and did a North American tour, and they were like literally like every damn show sold out. Like people are just ravenous, waiting to get back out. The bands are waiting to do it. The fans are waiting to do it. So I anticipate a lot of energy at these shows. It's going to be sick. I'm really desperately looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, our lockdown ends here tonight. We've been in lockdown pretty much for 18 months on and off, and our lockdown ends tonight. So
I hope it sticks. Well, congrats and best to you guys. I hope it sticks because, at one point, our management said, hey, you guys want to do this Australian run? And they put this whole thing together with the booking agencies and the promoters, and they were like ready to pull the trigger on it. And they're like, oh, Australian government says fuck off.
Yep.
They're not letting any non-Australians in. And so we're like, wow. So hopefully that being already all pre-set up, they'll just pull the trigger. I had no idea you guys were about to lift your lockdown. That's huge news. So hopefully they'll pull the trigger on that, and we'll hear, hey, by the way, that Australian thing we were trying to do is going to happen in March or whatever the hell they decide to do. So I think in February we'll go back over in Europe and finish that tour that we got cut off on. So I think they're going to resume. They basically we were 2 weeks into it roughly, and we had 2 or 3 weeks to go. And what I think they did was the remaining 2 or 3 weeks that was already mapped out, and then they put another 2 weeks on it. So I think we're about to go and do a full tour in February. So I hope they drop, hey, Australia's March, or hey, Australia's April. That would be great news.
Definitely. Cannot wait for that. Derek, I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, but before I go, I wanted to ask, what does Frank's leaving the band mean to you personally? It's such a big thing for the band. What does it mean to you personally?
It's tough. For me personally, I want Frank to do what Frank wants to do. And you know what? For the longest time, I mean, he had a 30-year career with Suffocation. I mean, minus that 5-year hiatus when the band didn't do anything from 1998 to 2003. But Frank, basically held it down for fucking 3 decades. That's a pretty honorable, noble thing.
Yep.
And for me, I want him to do what makes him happy. And if laying by his pool, sipping on a fucking whiskey and cola is what he wants to do, I'll be over there on the weekend having a whiskey and cola, jumping in his pool with him. Yep. So I just think whatever he wants to do is what I want him to do. And it's hard. Take Axl Rose out of Guns N' Roses, and let's see how far Guns N' Roses can go. I mean, we've been doing it without him, but, half the world doesn't accept it. The other half's like, we love Suffocation for Suffocation. Take any one guy out. To get down to, very few original members. I mean, great. Thankfully, I've been there almost 20 years, since 2003 or whatever. So hopefully, in the next couple of years, that'll be a 20 mark for me with these guys. So, a lot of people that don't know the full history, they've always seen me. So, in the last 20 years, if you go to a Suffocation show, it's me. So they don't necessarily, the guys that really know the history are like, okay, that guy's not original. But, the rest of the world goes, wow, he's been there. I've been on more records than any of the other bass players. I've played more shows than any other bass players. So, I mean, I'm not an original guy. I call myself a reunion guy because when the band got back together after the 5-year hiatus, they got me pretty quickly. And other than, man, it's stripped down, really to the bare minimum of original guys left. But I think the band is playing at an all-time high. You know what I mean? So it's hard, to say, well, it's not the original guys, but damn, they're playing really fucking good. So it's still a good show to see. The album should still be really raw and really good. So let's just hope it continues to work because we got fire left in us. So it's going to be sick. We're ready to go. And best of all wishes to Frank.
Definitely. Well, mate, to finish off, what would you like to say to all the Aussies out there before they go out and grab a copy of this amazing album?
Oh, man, we fucking love the Australian fans and just Australian people, the territory. We're so ready to come back over there and hang and rip it up with you guys that we love the Australians. We've always said it. And it's hard to say, we don't like any one particular territory, but Australia's just always been one of those above and beyond, really embracing Suffocation, and we look forward to getting back over there, and we love you guys, and I hope you guys like that new live album because we love it.
Definitely. Well, mate, we cannot wait to see you